So you've been in an accident and you're expecting some kind of settlement to help you take care of yourself after you've sustained so many damages. Well, that's not always the case, and I'm going to tell you why just in this video today. So stay tuned to the end, and I'm going to tell you the biggest reason why cases settle for such a small value. My name is Kwaku Darfour. I'm a personal injury attorney down here in South Florida. Our main office is in Fort Lauderdale, but we practice throughout the state of Florida. So oftentimes I get clients that come to me and they've been in an accident, and almost within a week or so I can tell that it's just not going to be a large settlement. And the first thing is because we get the insurance disclosures from the at-fault party, and we also have the client's insurance disclosure. If the at-fault party is not carrying any insurance, any BI insurance, or is carrying a very small amount and it's inadequate, unless my client has insurance, they're likely not going to get a decent recovery. It's going to be a very small settlement, right? So I often tell my clients, even after after I represented them, go ahead and change your insurance policy and make sure that you have adequate what's called coverage on your policy. Sometimes the insurance company will not tell you about that in efforts to reduce the price of your insurance, thinking they're helping you, but they're actually hurting you. Okay, so if you're going to renew your insurance, ask them about this coverage. It's probably a couple bucks more a month, but in the long run, it's really going to help you and save you if you are involved with an underinsured or an uninsured motorist in a vehicle accident. Okay. Another reason why your case may actually end up in a very small settlement is because of pre-existing conditions. Pre-existing conditions are just what it sounds like, right? What you're claiming or what is injured is something that was already injured before you got into an accident. And oftentimes the insurance company will say, well, you can't prove that this accident caused the injury because we see that you had the same injury some time back, and we think that it was just the injury was already there. My client or their insured didn't cause it, right? So that's another thing that can cause your settlement to be very low or a small settlement. Yet another reason that plaintiffs will find themselves getting a very small recovery is called contributory negligence. Now, what you need to know is that in Florida, contributory negligence is no longer the standard. The standard now is comparative negligence, right? And this is huge. This is because of a recently passed bill by the Florida legislature that was signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis last week. Essentially what this means is that if you're the plaintiff and the jury finds you more than 50% at fault for the accident, then you get zero. You are zipped, right? Previously, before this law was passed, if you were 51% at fault and the other party was 49% at fault, then the jury could award you 49% of your damages. But this new law makes you get zipped if you're more than 50% at fault. So be very wary of a case that you have, and you have an insurance company involved. They likely will analyze this and determine if their client was more than 50% at fault or you were more than 50% at fault, and that's going to change a lot of cases going forward. Now, another reason that you may see a very small settlement and not getting a lot of money in a case is because the case has not been worked up, right? In order for you to present the best theory to the insurance company or adjuster, you have to work the case. You have to find prior acts. You can find things as if the driver was impaired, what their driving history was, were they at work or in the course and the scope of work at the time, what prior injuries you may have. If you have none, that's great. Which doctors treat you and what is their diagnosis, and also what's their future diagnosis. If you have a wage loss claim or not, and whether that wage loss claim is going to impair you from doing your current job, in the future. So these are all things, some of the things that go into really analyzing and determining the value of a case, aside from just the economic damages. Now, there goes another thing that we should touch on is economic versus non-economic damages, because that also determines the value of your case, right? And it's pretty simple, right? Economic damages are things that you've actually had to pay for, right? As because of this injury, because of the accident or because of the injury, you've had to pay for medical care. If you had to pay for anyone to come help you at home, if you've had severe property damage, those are all economic damages. Now, there are what's called non-economic damages, which really is your pain and suffering, right? The more severe, the more, extenuating, the more severe really the accident is and the more pain it causes you. You can imagine, right? Someone that has obviously had multiple surgeries is going to go through a lot more pain and suffering than someone that just has a bulged disc, right? And so that's going to become a factor in determining the value of your case. You may get a very low settlement because there's just not enough non-economic damages, or there's none, right? Or there's, very little. And the adjuster is going to say, well, I know, you spent some time, in the hospital and you had, you treated with a chiropractor and so forth, but looking at the totality, we're not going to award you for non-economic damages because there simply wasn't that much pain. On the opposite end, though, you can see a case where, there's going to be astronomical pain and suffering because, client has spent maybe months in the hospital, multiple surgeries. Maybe they can't, walk the same anymore. They can't perform certain tasks the same anymore, and it's going to last them the rest of their life. Obviously, they're going through a lot of pain and suffering. So those are just a few of the reasons why you may see a low settlement in your injury case after you've been involved in some kind of accident or some kind of personal injury, slip and fall, or something of that nature, right? I hope that you found the things that we shared today valuable. If you did, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below, and that will keep you abreast of any future videos that we put out. We put out 3 videos a week, all to educate and to help and provide value to you. And if you have any questions about any cases, or you think you have a case that we may be able to represent you, feel free to give us a phone call or give us an email, and we will respond to you.